How's it going, you rascallion bastards? The name's FOXSOL. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to some more Wuthering Waves. In today's video, we're going to take the time to discuss echo sets and just how it can help to basically overpower your team and your characters to showcase the maximum potential of what that character is able to do. Whether it's a DPS, whether it's a supportive DPS, or whether it's just a plain support on your team. We're going to work together today to help make your team better. So let's get started. Alrighty. So what I want to get through is that we're going to be discussing echo sets. There's multiple ways of running echoes on your characters. There's no, in my personal opinion, real wrong way of doing it as long as it complements what the character's design is for. But the more I play Jinshi, the more I've realized that there is actually an echo set that I'm going to be honest, that I think is potentially the best that's in this game. And that is, if you take a look at my stats right now, you're going to see that main value wise, minusing the HP, which is at 19,000. We're looking at attack, we're looking at crit rate, and we're looking at crit damage for Genshi. You can see my attacks at 2,116. You can see the crit rate's over 70%, and you can see our crit damage is over 200% on this DPS character. Now, grant you, we do also have the Age of Harvest, which is a weapon that's built onto her as well to let you know that an extra 22.1% of the crit rate is coming from this. The rest of the main stats are coming from our echoes. And I think that this is actually legitimately going to be the best echo set that you can do on potentially any character on your team. And that is a 4-4-1-1-1. And if you don't know what I mean by saying those numbers of 4-1-1-1 is, if you take a look, you're going to have different cost values. And this is for, before we get into it, this is just for the new people who may not understand this. But you have bosses, which cost a 4. You have elites, which costs a 3, and you have basics that cost a 1. These are all the echoes that you collect. And altogether, we're trying to make sure that we are building an echo chain that is going to be right at 12 or under 12 cost. That's going to help complement and maximize your character's potential. Now, the thing of what I'm going to talk about here is that we're running, and a majority of my characters are running this, which is a 4-4-1-1-1. That means 2 bosses and 3 basics. I have some characters that is running a 4-3-3-1-1, which works really well. But in certain case scenarios for certain characters, certain DPSs, certain supports that I have, I'm finding that, especially with Genshi, having a 4-4 is potentially really, really good. So if you don't know what I'm talking about right here, is that recently we've gotten a new update with Wuthering Waves. We had a spectral boss, which was the first one was the IX right here, the morning IX, which is this one right here that you can see on the screen. And then with Wuthering Waves, this new update to 1.1 with the new area, we got a new boss, which was Ju, which is also a spectral boss that comes out to be this fucking big ass fucking Dragon Ball Z dragon, right? That is pretty cool of a boss to go fight. You could collect both of their echoes and you can use them on the same character. And what's cool about having bosses versus, you know, just having the elites and everything is potentially, especially for DPSs, you could build up one like you can see right here. We have a crit rate one. We have a crit rate that's been tuned for heavy attack damage, skill damage, ultimate damage, basic attack damage, and energy regen. You can see that our second boss is for crit damage, which has also got crit damage on it. It's got a heavy attack damage bonus. It's got an attack percentage on it. It's got a basic attack damage bonus, and it's got an energy regen. Just these two right here is, to me, maximizing Jinshi's ultimate potential for being a DPS. Like, we have other units that also help benefit into it that are all for your attack, which is their main stats, which all I cared about. That, you know, they've been tuned decently. For example, basic, heavy attack, HP, and ult damage. Heavy attack, basic energy, and crit rate damage, all percentages. This is the only one that I probably would need to redo and I just haven't had time to do it right now. But it's, like I said, all I cared about was the main attack percentage. But we have, you know, skill, alt, and then we have 2 flat rates, which is pretty bad tunings. And then we have a crit rate, which is a 6.9%. Just with all this right here, I'm seeing a lot more, because we tried originally doing a 4-3-3-1-1 on the stream, but ever since I changed it to a 4-4-1-1-1, I just see immense amount of damage coming out of Genshi. Just having that additional crit rate and that additional crit damage of 22 and 24 and 44%, excuse me, it's just been, holy crap, outstanding. To where I even started testing this on another character, which this is Jianshi, that legitimately with her, you'll see that we have a split build, which is with the Moonlit Clouds and with Aerial, but you'll see that my 2 main bosses both have healing. This is all I cared about, was the main stat of being a healing bonus. By having both of these main stats, my healing potential on the character has drastically gone up, to where instead of doing originally with just a 4-3-3-1-1, we were doing about 22 to 23 healing. Not quite sure exactly, but now we're doing over 3,500 healing every 6 seconds when we're using Jianshi on the GN team. And what I looked at her in particular was to make her a tank, but ultimately by having 2 different bosses with the same stat for healing output has been drastically a big change, and it's actually going to make me rebuild my other supports to probably doing the same thing, is to make sure that they have both healing on both their main stats with their bosses. There's other potentials that we could possibly do, but right now, guys, like, in order to get, you know, future wise, you got to realize that there's going to be updates to the game. We're going to get more bosses that are going to be the same type. We're going to probably get another aerial boss, another fusion boss. We're going to get more havoc bosses. We're going to get different potential bosses that's going to allow us to do the same thing as Genshi right here, to where we can actually have it to where we can get a full set of 5 that, you know, upon using an intro skill, spectral damage increases. I've seen the Reddit postings. I've seen people argue against this, but I'm going to tell you that from my personal experience of doing a 4-4-1-1-1 set and doing the testing and discussing this with, you know, eternal friends and stuff like this that plays Wuthering Waves, that we all came to the agreement that legitimately 4-4, this is probably the best set you can do, especially seeing it on Genshi. It's probably the best set you can do, because you're going to get 2 main stats that only you can get from the bosses, whether that's crit, 2 main stats, not substats, but 2 main stats, whether that's crit rate, whether that's healing, or whether that is crit damage. 2 massive stats that potentially will maximize any DPS right off the bat. So if you're looking at potentially, you know, upgrading your team, and you got right now a 4-3-3-1-1 set, or you got yourself whatever set you got, take a look at trying to do a 4-4-1-1-1 set. Trust me, because right now you could do this on electric characters, because there is 2 electric bosses. You could do it on havoc characters, which have two bosses. Other characters you possibly won't be able to do it with, because there is no 2 aerial bosses. There's no 2 fusion bosses, and there's not 2 ice bosses. But potentially, if you're going to do like me in a sense, and do a half build, because like I said, like we're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be doing Moonlit Clouds for the energy region, but we're also going to do for her, you know, the rejuvenating for healing plus. Right now we got her on a 5 because, you know, it increases the attack of all party members upon healing, but I don't find it increases the attack that much. So I'd rather her do more healing than worry about, you know, increasing attack damage. So she's going to be the next one that we're going to do this build for. We're going to, instead of doing a 4-3-3-1-1 build, we're going to be doing a 4-4-1-1-1 build. And we're going to swap it in to where we can have two bosses that's going to basically do healing, just like this one right here. We're going to have 2 bosses going to have a healing bonus. And we're going to see about maximizing out her healing potential as well. So That's just something I want to clearly go ahead and make the statement that yes, if you're looking at optimizing some of your characters, this right here I think will be one hell of a build for a lot of you guys out there, and especially if you got Jinshi. Take a look at the 44111 build and use it. Let me know how it goes for you. Leave a comment down below. If you disagree with me, let me know down below. What is your disagreements with using a 44111? Because I've seen some of the arguments that says, you know, you're not going to get some benefits out of it because, like, for example, with the elites, you can get things like energy regen plus and stuff like this. But some characters, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, they don't really need that energy regen. They really don't. And you can tune in some of these basics or even the elites to have energy regen as well, which, you know, gives you a little bit extra and doesn't cost you anything. But I digress. Just let me know what your thoughts is down below. And until the next video, guys, I'll catch you on the flip side. So peace.